Hello and welcome, everybody. We are Deb and Arjay.
Hello.
Here with Mystical Awakenings on this snowy Thursday. And very happy, as always, to be with KGRA. They're the best. And we see a few people popping on. So we are excited tonight. We have a dear friend and an amazing person as a guest tonight. Most of you know her. If you don't, you will by the end of the show. So
again, we welcome back Dana Stricker, who is a born psychic medium. Dana has been reading professionally since the age of 15 and has been communicating with the other side for as long as she can remember. Known for her candid approach, and that's for sure, Dana's readings, while both uncharacteristic and unpredictable, have been revered, excuse me. I can't say that word. Why is that? Revered.
It's a day.
Endorsed and validated on every professional level. While her career spans decades, Dana continually works to improve her craft, currently taking courses with the Morris Pratt Institute to earn a graduate certificate of validation in spiritual/religious beliefs and psychic/mediumship, while simultaneously serving as a teacher and mentor to numerous interns and students. Morris Pratt is the oldest spiritual establishment in the United States, and it was started in Whitewater, Wisconsin, where she's from, just a stone throw away from her hometown, Palmyra, Wisconsin. While she excels in both psychic and mediumship ability, Dana is known for her exceptional skills in remote readings. She is also known and very well established medical intuitive. In addition to reading professionally worldwide, Dana has worked closely with multiple police departments nationwide on numerous missing person cases. Why did Dana bring her abilities into the game of healing? Because I can and I should, she says. If you have the capacity to help others, you always should. It's the right thing to do. It's a responsibility I don't take lightly. Dana has a strong presence on social media and is one half of the successful Get Real with Deb and Dana broadcast alongside co-host Deb DeRusse. She is also co-host of the podcast The Voices of Contact. So please welcome our friend, our colleague, Dana Stricker.
Hi,
you guys
Dana.
Make me sound super busy.
You are super busy.
Yeah.
I guess I am. And I do need to throw a little correction in that.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible student. So while I'm enrolled at Morris Pratt, I have yet to do any homework. So I probably should take that out of there.
We'll have to talk to the dean there.
Doing this for so long, I'm curious about the history and stuff like that, and I'm very much into it. Yeah. I just don't have the time, so I guess I am too busy. I think we've had this discussion before. There's people that are certified psychic mediums, which is great if you have the time and the means and all this other stuff to do it. Do I think you need to be certified to be a good psychic or medium? No, I don't. So, I mean, that's a personal
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, but it's fun.
100 years, 150 years ago, we didn't get certified.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same way. What does it hurt? You know, I mean,
it doesn't hurt. Like if you
learn,
have, like I said, if you have,
yeah.
I'd rather people learn the, background and not just like hang a sign one day and be like, it's like, but we've all been through that before. It's a responsibility. Is what it is. You're dealing with people's lives. You're not just like doing it for fun sometimes.
Yeah. It's certainly not something that should be taken lightly at all.
No, nor is it something that you should be trying to get famous with. And that's another thing that mystifies me is why that's so important. I don't really feel the need to do that. It's weird.
Well, it's like, a kid or somebody that graduates from college with all these degrees and a master's degree and a doctor's degree. Yeah. It still experience is the best teacher. So
absolutely,
yeah. And you've been doing it for a long time. So
yeah, we won't say how many years since I started it.
Well, I know that we have been doing it most of our lives.
So at some point I may get certified, and if I do, I'm going to blast it all over social media.
No,
I
you
might have
won't.
teachers up there. No, I won't.
No,
you're right.
You don't have that kind of ego. Sorry, Dana.
Believe it or not, I don't. Yeah. Yeah, but you made me sound like I should have one. You're like listing off. I got to update my bio.
Well, yeah. I mean, you will update your bio once you get it done.
Well, I know who wrote your bio for you, and it is based on facts.
Yeah.
So, I understand that you're modest, but you have earned.
I'm not the only person doing it.
No.
So, anywho, beyond that, what are we going to talk about?
Anywho, you are an amazing medium.
Thank you.
I, sent a lot of my people to you that absolutely, totally love you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But part of the reason, on top of many other reasons, partly because we get to hang out, but part of the reason we thought it would be fun to have you on tonight is that we decided, we finally posted the Michigan UFO contact, and we would like to announce our very first speaker at the 2025 Michigan UFO Con. And that very first speaker is Dana.
Woohoo! I wasn't there last year on
excited.
the panel, so I kind of spoke. But this is going to be me talking, so I can't promise what I'll say because I never write my talks. But we'll see.
But
I don't either.
Between us, we have a lot to talk about when it comes to that subject. So
yeah, and we
dating back to your dad and everything else. So
yeah, it does go back to my dad, and and I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times, and I'm sure I've said it on our other podcast that we do, both of them, with you a lot, Deb. Like the medical stuff that I get, I'm convinced is not coming from spirit. I feel like that's coming from a different source.
Right.
And that really, to me, is what makes more sense. Not that spirit is incapable or a person would be incapable, because I can see energy patterns on people. I always have been able to, though. This is when I get like stuff like, your husband's going to come home with back pain, and if you don't call 911 immediately, he's going to die. Basically, I don't say it like that, but the essence is there. And 2 days later, it happens. Yeah, that's not really me. That's coming so clear, and it's a different vibe. Yeah. And I do think that might be where it's coming from. So that and all my mystery bruising and my
would you say it's interdimensional, like a
probably because I guess if you're a psychic or more of a medium, if you're a medium, you're feeling like that energy is like a spirit, or people fight over what to call them, but I'm going to say soul, spirit, whatever. It's a person coming to you and directing the attention to your client or whoever you're reading, right?
Right.
That that's what it is.
Yeah.
I've gotten angelic types that are super tall light beings that I don't know what to explain about them. Yeah. They feel more angelic to me. That's the only word I can come up with because I don't have another word for it.
Yeah.
But they're like 8 feet tall. I'm not seeing like wings on the back.
No.
But the shoulders are very broad. And they just stand there. And then I get like these weirdo messages. That's usually I get voice with the spirit. It's very, very fast. So I'm getting like every second to third word. And then I get visual that fills in the blanks for me when they're speaking to me. So I'm not a medium that's going to get my aunt's name was Rose Smith, and she buried the gold under this bush. It doesn't come to me like that. I'm getting bits of that, and I'm trying to ascertain what they're showing me then to fill in that blank.
Right.
I'm not sure.
And I think everybody gets it differently. I have to say hi to Goose, our buddy Goose, who will also be at Michigan UFO Con.
Here he goes. Really?
I can't
so
go unless he goes.
Today.
So this is a thing. He has to
He's
be there.
ours.
John has to be. They have to be there.
All of our kids. Well, our kids. You're too young. But I found it really interesting what he has to say here. Modern ITC spirit communicating partially started with trying to make first contact with our galactic family.
Nice.
And I'm totally on board with that, Goose. Totally. Yep. And with what you're saying, Dana.
Yeah, sounds like higher dimensional extraterrestrial beings that from somewhere, some other dimension, somewhere.
I can't sit there and say that for sure because that's not how it's always been.
Right.
Like that's like the last 10, 12 years is I get different things in different ways. But the really direct, especially with medical, when I get like that, bam, and I've got, people that would back me up because they've been the people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, like, I've seen it.
There's absolutely no way she would have known that this was going to happen because it happened like the day after. And then I hear about it and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. I've seen it firsthand. You work a lot of my events, our events, and people come to me and say, oh my God, Dana told me this or Dana told me that. And sure enough, they end up coming back saying, do you remember I told you what Dana said? But it's pretty amazing. We all have little different abilities. And I love that you get some of the stuff that you get.
I think because I was so young when all this started for me, everybody talks about you have to protect yourself. You have to do this and that and the other. I don't do any of that. Now, it's probably some people say that's bad. You're going to get in trouble, whatever. I do it. I mean, guess who's coming to visit? Mr. Squeakers is back.
Our gray being.
Yes, the gray.
Our gray who winks at us.
Every time I'm on this, you guys, he comes in. But anyway, so maybe that's why I'm getting the different things because I don't block things out.
Right.
And I have worked in some very dark stuff. Not like I'm a Satanist, like helping church people, like stuff. I don't like talking about that era.
Right.
But I'd go in and assess a place to see if it was like a mental illness. You do the questionnaire. And
or it was actual.
There's a couple places. And of course, the majority of it was either drummed up or whatever. But there's like 2 or 3 cases that I worked on at that time that were, I don't want to deal with it. Like I don't want to even think that can exist, but it does, of course, because you can't have good without bad. So there's or what we consider bad.
You can't have light without dark.
Like a little girl that was 3 inches above her mattress, kind of stuff. That's not something I care to see again.
Right.
Thank you. Pretty sure. Hello, church people. Yeah, she's not faking it. Send a priest.
Right.
Then the priest ran out. That happened in Illinois. Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. Freaky stuff.
So,
but getting back to getting back to those beans you described, those 8-foot tall. I mean, that's trust me, that's what you're telling me. I've heard other places, and so I mean,
I never knew what to call them because to me, the size and just the fact that they were just like that, like this light is. If you look directly at it, it's like almost a blinding light. But it's just there's no features. It's not like they're these beautiful angels like you see, in the Bible or whatever. It's just the silhouette, and they're quite large, and they have very broad shoulders. And I felt, and I could be wrong, because I'm not right 100,000% of the time.
Nobody is.
But I felt a very male energy to them. I did not get a female vibe from these when they show up. And I would say there's probably only, like, if I read for a year, I will probably only run into them maybe 4 or 5 times.
Right.
So they're not showing up like every single time I'm going to say, I see angels or whatever. I'm not going to say that. It's as surprising to me as it is to the client, but I'm not going to sit there and not tell them they're there.
I think that's quite a bit, actually, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's gotten to be more, which is curious to me because it used to be like 1 or 2 a year, maybe. Like when I first started seeing them, it was pretty, and then I didn't really know what to call them because it's not like a shadow person because it's not dark. They're like bright white and big, just big. And how do you explain that? And so I started, maybe that's why I started using angelic presence because they felt very strong and very direct, but they didn't scare me. Yeah. The only thing that was really intimidating was the height.
Now, was there much detail on the face and
She
No
says
details.
there's
no
nothing.
details. Yeah, I know.
Nope.
I know
Mm-mm.
that's weird.
No, not so far. No, I'm going to blame you if I have another next one shows up and he's like, "What do you want me to look like?" You know, I'm not
Right.
Well, that's true. They could probably look the way they want to, or the way
right.
you want them to. Yeah.
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 So who knows? You know, that could be. You know, could it be ET? It could be. I'm not an expert. None of us are. None of us
Right.
really know what we're talking to or who we're dealing with.
Right.
And
mean,
I'm trying to say ETs
aside
could be a
from-
higher dimensional being.
Somebody's husband or somebody's child, you know, somebody that's deceased. You
Mhm.
kind of it's a different feeling than like this other stuff that comes.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying. And
Well-
like I think Candace just everybody has their own way, and everybody does. Every psychic
Yeah.
medium is different.
Mhm.
There isn't a cookie cutter way to do this.
Right.
You have to do what works for you.
Yeah.
Some people are better at one thing than another.
And these beings could, I mean, I don't know because I'm not an expert either. I don't think any of us are.
Nobody's an expert.
But they could be there working with you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
They might not even come with the client.
That's true.
They are
I never thought about that.
your helpers in certain cases.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's hard to say, but when you see repeat,
Yeah, basically,
I
to
don't
be
know if I
very
wanna
honest
call
with
them
you,
beings.
it looks like the same person or thing
yeah, saying
because I'm
you-
not getting features. I'm not
Mhm.
getting like a difference in height. It's always the same solid, and it feels very male.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
we got to come to the conclusion that all our ETs aren't going to be flying in on spaceships. They're going to be right there with us and just coming through a portal from a different dimension. You know, they're there.
Well, I wish they would get here already.
I think they are. It's just, you know, you got to tap into it.
They are.
I'll
Some
take a
are.
mantis
Some are.
right now over some of the things they're being.
Oh, me too. Me too. That's
You
for
would
sure.
take a mantis? I don't know about that. I want to get that right.
I'll take. No, I
I want that right.
I don't want to entertain that thought because if anybody that's watching right now watches our
Podcast,
UFO
yeah.
contact one,
Contact.
they are obsessed with. I don't like mantis beings.
Yeah, so we
I
pick
don't
on
like
her
the
a lot.
look of them. I don't trust them, and the fact that they wear these little tiny robes to cover their insect body, I just.
Well, their body's really ugly.
Well, to us, but to them.
but maybe not to them. Maybe they like their groovy burlap robe. I don't know.
Right.
They may think we're ugly, you know.
But one thing we've learned in doing the voices of contact with different regressions all the time,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different beings. I mean, how many times has it happened when we're doing a show, listening to a regression, going, wow, what is that? As the person is regressed and explaining what they are seeing, there's so many.
But also some of the same ones show up with
Yeah.
different people. That gives me, you know, credence that there's something here, you know, because they're seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you had an experience. I think you might have talked about, but tell us again that you saw something looking in a window very tall up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was not in my state. I won't say where it is because there's a particular place there that people know about. I don't want to diss the place because it was a beautiful place.
Right.
But it was DC kind of Virginia type area. Okay.
Yeah.
But a small town. And we were doing an event there. The Solstice Sisters, the first incarnation of it. And I don't even, the whole night was such a weird vibe. So we just did our normal stuff, the Reiki, the readings, that sort of thing. And we decided to investigate a little bit because this place is haunted, like legitimately. So that's not like, oh yes, we're haunted. And then it's not. And you're all like, whatever. It gets people business. This is legitimately has stuff going on.
Right.
And so the first thing that happened actually was the doppelganger, which I have never had this happen in my life before. Two of us saw my friend walking down. There's a long hallway between the dining room and the kitchen of this place. It's an old like mansion. And she's blind. So it was our friend Christina. And she had her dog with her guide dog. And we were probably, I don't know, 7 feet behind her. So there she's right there. The dog's there or whatever. And she goes straight to the back door. And I'm like, are you sure you're going to be, because it was night. And I'm like, are you sure you're going to be okay going out there? And she was like, yeah, whatever. Opens the door, goes out. We're standing in the kitchen. And I talked to the other gal who's no longer working with us that happened to be there. And I'm like, oh my God, she's been out there for like 15 minutes. Maybe she fell. I mean, I can't believe we let a blind person out in the pitch black with the dog, in a strange place in the first place. That's not something I would do normally.
Right.
I don't know. I felt weird. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm going to the back door and I'm turning and I don't see her out there. And we went back to the kitchen and I'm like, we got to go out the front or whatever, And I got my back turned and I'm looking out that back door looking for her yet. And all of a sudden I get a tap and I turn around, there she is. She goes, are y'all looking for me? And I'm like, oh, she's on here right now. Yes, it was great. She's like, are you guys looking for me? And Christina, if I say this thing wrong, I'm sorry. This is how I remember it. We both know how this goes because it was very fragmented. It took us forever to get this down, to write it down. And she's like, I never went out with the dog. Now, I know I saw her in front of me. I know it was her. It obviously wasn't. She never went outside. She was upstairs the whole time this went on. Wow. That has never happened to me before. Wow. That was creepy. And then we had some other stuff happen. And there's a picture that we have of in one room where you can. Yes, she was upstairs the whole time. And I'm like freaking out that my friend's out in the backyard of this place with her dog. Right. Not that the dog's bad, but it's a strange place and it's dark out. Oh my God. Right. I'm a great friend. Anyway, later on, it became even stranger though, because we were getting like a picture in one of the windows was odd. The shape of the head was more of a rounded, and that was not a high up shot. That would have been ground, Ground level. Okay. Now the dining room, I was sitting in the parlor, so I'm looking across the dining room in the other room to a big bay window, and where the bay window sat and how high the house was on that side, I think it had to have been 8 feet, if not higher than that.
Wow.
And I got neck like from here up. And I remember my brain going, you're not seeing that. Don't see that. You're not seeing that. Don't see this. Don't. But too late.
Wow.
And we had other stuff happen. And that's a Dana Christina story for probably
did it have the typical black eyes, big black eyes, or
I can't tell you that.
Okay. So you saw the outline.
What I want to say, like, looking through like the different types or whatever. And Apollo, the dog, who's very protective of not, especially Christina, but also us.
Yeah.
He was like not having any of this thing. He was not a happy boy. Yeah. And something pushed him down the steps, and there was all kinds of stuff that happened with that. But he jumped up and stood in the window. In that very window, was like, you people are nuts. Get out of here. He was probably like, wow. And he gave up and went upstairs, I think, by himself. He was done. I'm like, I'm out, people. Oh, it's just not that dog. He's such a good dog. But anyway, yeah, I think when I looked through stuff, it took Christina and I over a year to get this written down. Like we had different memory of it, but the same at the same time. Mm-hmm. It's hard to explain it. And timeline, like what happened first and we have it down. I just don't have it with me, or I could have probably done a better rundown of it. But was I scared? I was freaked out. I don't get freaked out. That freaked me out because it's not something. Yeah, different angles of the same picture. That's exactly what it was like. And both of us sitting there trying to figure it out, we were just like, I can't think of this. But I remember seeing that, and I kept turning my head. And I think we have a picture of that window with it in it. But it's not clear. And it'll be like a Bigfoot picture. Squeakers, you're blocking light. You're blocking mommy's light.
Hi, Squeakers.
And here we go again. Apparently, I have to be in shadow for this scary story. But I think it's all white, tall gray.
We're hiding your identity right now.
Thing that would have been like remotely close. Squeak, honestly, that would have been the closest thing to what I think I saw. But it had to have been tall or levitated, and I don't want to think about that either.
So
don't be levitating. Nobody
was Kathy there also.
No.
Okay, so it was only you and Christina.
Well, there was another person who I won't name.
Okay.
That was part of,
Okay. I'm just wondering
what happened, but I'll tell you that privately because there was something that happened with that too. But I can't, in fairness, do that without that person being
all kinds of things go through my head, like a time slip or
I know Christina Bowen like the back of my hand, and I know that looked like exactly like Christina Bowen walking in front of me with her dog.
Right.
I would have sworn on a stack of Bibles that's exactly who was in front of me, and it wasn't. Yeah. So who was it?
It could be a time thing with that as well, or interdimensional thing. But I'm also wondering, I wonder what would happen if the two of you were regressed to go back to this time, because I really get the feeling, I get a really strong feeling that there's things that you're both
probably
missing. And if you were in an alternate dimension,
parallel world,
your reality would be all messed up.
But we weren't there for Christina. What did she say to the regression? She's like at the
It's worth it. It's worth a go, Christina.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great way to get answers. We know that.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, we both come to terms with the fact that we're not real comfortable. Even maybe have been abducted since a child. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm telling you what I've had happen to me. That's all I can go off of is experience, some foggy pictures. I can't prove it to anybody. I don't feel the need to prove it to anybody because I know what I saw.
Yeah, and I don't feel either of you need to prove anything to anybody.
No, absolutely
but to get answers for yourselves
would
be a good
thing.
It
was just a very strange night because we weren't there anticipating that. And I had actually talked to the person that owned the place, and I asked, I said, do you have any like alien stuff? And I don't know why. I don't remember how that even came about. See, that's the memory part. I don't remember parts of this night.
Yeah.
She's like, no, never. I've never heard that, which she probably hadn't. But then later on, she's like, well, where I live, because she didn't live at this place, where she lives, she had UFOs following her to her barn.
Oh, geez. And does she live near there?
No, not super near, but I'm like, what? Did you tell them we were coming or what? I don't think she did that. But it's just really a strange story. And I've had a couple things like that where, stemming back to childhood, like with my dad, my dad did not believe in psychics. He didn't believe in mediums. He didn't believe in ghosts. Yeah. But the one thing he did believe in was UFOs, UAPs. That's because he saw one over his ship that he was on, and it followed them for a half hour, cigar shape, right over the top of them, and they all saw it. Everybody on board saw it. Ever since then, and like I told you guys many times, it's been like, I grew up with Project Blue Book in our bookshelf, and I grew up with Cosmos by Carl Sagan, and I grew up with, my dad was a lineman for the electric company. We want to talk about his military past, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But as a normal guy raising a family, that's what he did. But he read these really heady books about the Philadelphia experiment and all these really weird fascinated by Hitler, not in a good way.
Right.
That's why I know so much about that war and the Third Reich and all that is through my dad.
Well, Hitler was.
Well, Hitler was into time travel. My dad told me that.
Yeah, he was into a lot of paranormal stuff
Mhm.
and alien stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So the whole thing is, it's just kind of like a family weirdness. And, I've had things off and on, but I can't sit here and tell anybody out here that I've been abducted or I can tell you Christina was actually witness too. When I left that place, I had weird bruising.
Right.
So I send her pictures of my weird bruises usually because she's my person. If I have like a vision of something, I'll tell her.
Mhm.
She's like my check mark. So it's like before something happens, Christina's marking it down. If I'm right, then I've got it, a person I told before it happened, kind of thing.
So that bruise was on your arm, maybe?
I don't know if that was the one that was between my toes or if it was the one on my arms. She's got it. She's got tons of those pictures. She said.
I was just watching.
And you still get them.
Yes, and I do have kidney disease, but it's the crook of my arm. It was that time.
Yeah, I was going to say I was just watching. It's funny. I was watching Expedition X, where they were in Germany, near Germany. Studying the fact they were into all this paranormal stuff, and the lady, I can't remember her name, she got a bruise on her arm, and they went to the doctor and said, yeah, had to be done by somebody actually grabbing your arm. Yep. So.
Well, it's just like when I was at Belvoir Winery and I got in the shower the day after I was at a Strange Escapes event, got in the shower, and I think this was spirit, but I had little tiny handprints all up and down my thighs.
Wow.
And that's where the kids used to play in there. And I took pictures of that, and it's definitely handprints. I mean, you cannot dispute that. And I'm like, there were no kids in there grabbing my thighs. I mean, come on.
That do you know?
I would have recognized this,
Not in living physical form, anyways.
Right. I don't think it was like grays because I think their hands are longer than these were. Right. But I could be wrong. And I don't think that was the vibe there. See, that's what I mean. I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. As a medium myself, I can tell you that I can tell a difference. I can't tell what, but when it's not human spirit, we just know. We know that.
I've just been a weird person from the get-go, and weird
That's why we get along.
Huh?
Yeah, that's why we get along.
Yeah, it's just ever since I was a tiny kid. I mean, I don't know why me. Maybe my mom is probably part of it because she never told me I wasn't seeing something.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's important too. My dad, on the other hand, but my mom was always like, because she had it in her family. She used to see spirit in her bedroom, and she used to have things happen. She goes, but I was nothing like you. And I'm like, well, is that good or bad?
I was nothing like you, huh?
But your mom has also had
she had a
worldly being experiences as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we know, Dana, it is very generational. Many families. It just goes down the family. It might miss some here and there.
I'm sure I'm Queen Mantis. I just wanted to know.
You are.
Yeah, my mother was the same way. She was very...
At least I'll have a small waist for once.
Skinny is highly overrated. I'd rather not.
I don't know.
Really
I had weird stuff. And the thing that happened at the high school track that I called Andrea Perrin, and I'm like, this is what just happened.
You contacted me about that too. I forgot about that.
That's a dandy. That one I might be talking about at UFO Con because that was a dandy.
So if anybody is new on here tonight and you weren't here for the beginning of the show, a little part of the reason that Dana is here is so that we could announce officially, publicly, that she is definitely a speaker at Michigan UFO Contact this year, happening September 26th and 27th. Woohoo!
Yeehaw!
Yeah.
I go anyway. This will be cooler because
Yeah, and like you said, you do the panel because you're part of the Voices of Contact with us. So we do that too. But you've had so many awesome experiences that you're finally kind of really opening up to more and digging into more.
Them. And I think people probably do forget
absolutely.
them. And it's only when you start talking again about them that you're going, wait a minute, why was that? I had it happen on a cruise ship, for God's sake.
Right.
In the middle, once again, with strange escapes. Saw a UFO go right over the ship. I mean, my son and I were just like, nobody said a word. I mean, what do you say?
That's amazing, isn't it?
And there was like the big bright light, like woke us up another night on that ship, and that wasn't the ship.
Right.
Nobody was overboard or whatever.
It was the ship.
Right.
It was not the ship. It was the ship. And I've had that happen in my bedroom, and you don't remember it, or you don't file it away, because I think maybe part of you doesn't want to file. Like you want it to be, somebody was out shining deer. Yeah, Dana, right in downtown.
In the middle of the ocean. Yeah.
Right. I don't think the cops would go for that.
Right.
We are a bunch of small town people, but I don't think they'd be dumb enough to do that. So,
you also had something. You also had something show up in your backyard, didn't you? A circle or something?
We had circles, and then somebody said it was from. That was last summer. We had a whole bunch of these concentric. Like there wasn't just one; there was several, like kind of hooked together. So of course, right away you're thinking fairy ring, because that's,
Right.
But then I'm thinking, well, and my mom keeps seeing stuff.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, you told us about that too.
That's another thing. She's got some dementia going on. My mom's 84.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff she's saying, I'm like, okay, that's really weird, because like the blue UFO thing we were talking about, then she had an alien baby that was flying around my house that needed a specific kind of like formula to keep it alive. I'm like, what are you hallucinating? That's got to be bizarre. And she'll sit there with her eyes wide open and swear to God this, and then she realizes later, but I'm like, what would even put that in your head? And I'm not saying there's a flying baby in my house. Okay, people.
No, wait a minute. You're telling me that she's like sleeping and wakes up and her eyes are open and tells you this?
Yeah.
Is that, wow. Okay.
Yeah. She just sees
and then
with
she goes
her eyes open.
She saw 3 UFOs over our house that were blue, and then those rings showed up in my backyard.
Okay.
Like very shortly after.
I'm saying,
But somebody said it was like, I can't remember, some kind of an insect or something. So there's like a rational, I guess, if I had the soil tested, they weren't burned in there, but it wasn't there before. So why did it suddenly show up? Like, did they work that fast?
Yeah, I haven't
So
heard
I have pictures of it somewhere.
I hate that there's always a logical explanation there.
I hate logical.
I don't believe but there isn't. But that's the human brain. It's like, Dana, you do the same thing that everyone does. And this is one of the reasons I think you're going to be a great speaker, the events for experiencers. And you're a real person, a real experiencer, and not afraid to talk. People know you, and, they're going to relate with this. But the normal human thing to do, the human brain will either explain something away or dismiss it.
Yeah. Because it doesn't want to deal with it. If it's not in our reality, what you're actually seeing, you would just want it to go away, because it makes you uncomfortable or scared or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's not something I think they want us to really remember sometimes either.
Right.
Yeah,
so I got news. I'm on the lookout for you guys.
Well, just be careful what you ask for.
Jeannie, you're so
They could be
right.
coming in here. I just showed you the new bruise I got, Deb. That new bruise.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah, I had marking on my leg the other night. I don't know where that just came from.
Yeah, both of you.
Me. Quit copying me, RJ.
His was first.
Well, it was just
You're the very
five
next.
dots, and
What is the awareness that one must have to decipher if a blob is an alien or a fairy? Also, hello to the three angels. Aw. That's a good question, though, Jenny, because you know what? I don't think any of us can like sit here and tell you. I mean, I can't. I'll talk for myself. I've never seen a fairy. I have a friend that has seen a fairy like more than one time because I think she is a fairy. If you want to. You can call me
then
crazy
I know
if
who
you
you're
want.
talking about.
You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yep.
Church
She
right
is
now, or
scary.
she'd be listening in. But she's not a lying person. She's not somebody that's going to embellish something to make it cool.
No.
If she said she saw this, she saw it. I'm not going to tell her she didn't see it.
No, I mean,
It's just like me when, I have these giant light beings show up. I'm going to tell the person I'm reading. It's not mine to keep to myself because it makes me uncomfortable. That's somebody else's thing that's supposed to be told to them. If it's a blob, that's their blob during a reading. It's not for me. For you to have to sit there and decipher, is that a fairy that looks like a blob? I don't think that a fairy would show up as a blob. That's my own personal vibe on that.
Yeah.
Fairies are kind of like, they know what they are. They're going to show themselves as they are.
Yeah.
But I understand.
And it's hard to say. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was one time that they walked among us, and were they extraterrestrials? Were they something from a different dimension, different realm? Sure, interdimensional.
The other thing is that we've labeled these things over the centuries. Unfortunately, some of these things were written off during some of the dark ages because it's the devil. It's controlled situations.
Yeah.
Where, I'm not going to sit here and say that isn't bad. I think I addressed that earlier. There are things out there that are kind of terrible, and I've seen it. So I'm not going to say there's not. It makes people uncomfortable. Sorry. It is what it is. But some of these things, the human race could very well be a mixture of all of those fairy tale things that the giants, the gnomes, the Wendigos. I don't think I want to be part of that, except for I get kind of mad sometimes, so it might be good for me. But
they're kind of creepy. Yeah, the Wendigos are kind of creepy. Yeah.
And they're Wisconsin, by the way. Yeah. We're big in Wendigos here. Yeah. All of those, mythicals, Bigfoot, Mothman. I would say that they're probably coming through dimensionally. Yeah. We could be a product of that somehow down the line. We all have some sort of weird DNA floating around that we just don't know, and it's so unknown.
But you made a good point.
I got a high unknown account.
Yeah, you made a good point, though, Dana. That when I said at one point they were among us and we're all together, but something happened, like the Dark Ages. If they were around, they would kill them. And they had to leave. They had to go somewhere. And I think now, because the way we are now, that we're more accepting now, and they're trying to get back into our lives. I truly believe that.
They never really truly left.
No, they never left. But they're
hiding.
They're hiding. They had to go into a higher, little different dimension where.
So, like ET and like an elemental are more nature based than we are. We are more material based, but we have part of that. That's what it. Yeah. Some people are really attracted to living off the land and doing this and that. I need a shower, man. I definitely am not a gnome. I don't know what I am, but it sounds fantastical. It sounds ridiculous to a lot of people, and that's okay. To each their own. But there's more to us than what we know by a long shot. And I think if we had the ability to really know what part of science we're not being shown, then listen to your Native Americans. They'll know better than a lot of people what the deal was before we even got here. They were experiencing lots of things before we even walked onto their property and Coptasquat.
And before I forget, I want to take, because I know you'd be interested in this. In North Carolina, they found a 1,000-year-old 28-foot canoe under the water.
Just like Wisconsin, they had to just copy us, didn't they? Ours is $10,000 or $10,000, 10,000 years. They think.
Yeah.
So, that was a pretty spectacular thing.
I knew you'd like that.
I got to go see it. I'm so excited.
But getting back to this, I think at one time we were all apart. We were all living together, and I think something happened, and that they had to leave. And I think they're starting to come back. I think that's part of the disclosure, that we're going to learn that too, not just about extraterrestrials, but about interdimensional fairies. And
if you read some of the conspiracy theorists, or a lot of the, and I'm not picking on anybody here when I say this, but a lot of the very evangelical type religions,
right?
I see a lot of stuff and feedback about just wait, monsters will walk the earth. There's going to be terrible, terrible things that are walking the earth. And I'm going, but I think they've already been walking the earth.
Yeah.
So if disclosure involves that, I mean, that's getting into a very deep well.
Yeah.
But, you got to keep an open mind, because we don't know where we really came from, guys.
Right. And I'll tell you, if you think like Michael Carter talks about the Bible and extraterrestrial.
I love Michael Carter.
Yeah.
For the record.
Right. So if you think the Bible has a lot to do with extraterrestrial, you should, like, when you go back to the Greek, we call it mythology, but when all these ancient texts that they've written about Zeus and those people, I'm telling you, were real, and they were from somewhere else.
Well, they always are depicted as being up in the sky looking down on us idiots.
They were here,
Here we are.
that was part of our makeup too. Yeah. So,
you look at a lot of the medieval paintings, they've got UFOs. Some of the Egyptian hieroglyphs have UFO. Yeah. They're obviously UFOs, but the Egyptian hieroglyphs also have light bulbs.
Yeah. Well, that was an actual power source they had. That they had that.
Well, they're uncovering more in Egypt, and it seems to be going faster. So I'll make a little prediction here that you're going to be seeing more and more coming out of Egypt as far as like their history,
right?
Which is going to like run into everybody's history.
Yeah. And it's a lot older than I think they say it is too.
Yes. Yeah. Hi, Terry Shana. Sorry, I just had to address.
Hi, Terry.
And hi to everybody else that I didn't say hi to.
Yeah, everybody else. Yeah. Our conversation is just so got me.
Well, I'm a chatter. You got to watch me. So
nothing wrong with that. That's why they're here, is to hear you.
And I can't wait till they unearth this Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which they've only done like a quarter of it, and there's not even supposed to be possible that people could do that at 10, 12,000 years ago.
Guess what? We're doing more than that. Well, the Easter Island statues too. They just figured out, what was it, 10 years ago, that they went underground as well. Yeah. Everybody's been looking at their heads sticking out forever, but nobody bothered to dig.
And the heads were big enough, Yeah.
Now like the Sphinx has a humongous body, but it's all under the sand.
Yeah,
so and got, like,
they say they're supposed to find all the records.
A lot of other stuff underneath there. It's
that's what I'm saying. They're supposed to find the records to our true past under there.
So we just get our 5-minute warning. Love you, Bill.
So does anybody in the audience want to ask me anything?
Yeah, but if anybody has questions, in the meantime, Dana, can you fill us in on where you're going to be? We know you're going to be at Michigan UFO Contact.
I will be there. I'm going to be in Texas next for the Lone Star Paracon at the end of March. There's still general tickets available if you're from the Texas area for the speaker portion. All of the ticket prices for everything, to include our Solstice Sisters event, which is the Sunday, that ticket money does not go to us. It does not go to the Klings. It goes directly to the charity, which is for battered women and underprivileged children.
I love those guys.
They're very good at their charities that they do choose. So we're excited. I'm excited about getting there. I'm going to be then, I'm home a day, and then I leave again for the Galena Haunted Conference in Galena, Illinois. I'll be at the not the Palmer House. That's a different place. I'm going to be at one of the hotels down there. But the name is because I have too many things going on. And I'll be with a couple other psychics, and we're doing floors, and there's going to be an investigation. That's a very, very haunted location. It's probably one of the most haunted places in Illinois. Galena is a lovely town. That one is also inexpensive. It's not going to soak you for, $100 to go to it. It's like 35 or maybe 50. I don't know for sure. And that's for like pretty much everything. Might be a little extra if you stay at the actual hotel. It's might be a little more, but it is a neat place to visit on any given day. So this is going to be really cool. I was very, very honored to be asked to do that. Thank you, Sandy Hyris, somewhere out there in the world. After that, I don't remember where I'm going, but I have several coming up this summer.
You're going to be with us, hopefully, in May. End of May, right?
Yep, end of May. And
True Seekers Retreat.
Yep, that one I'm doing. I've got stuff in July with the solstice, or June, or July. God, see what I mean? I have a lot happening this year anyway.
Yeah.
But those are the recent ones coming up. Will be Galena and Texas. So.
Okay, Terry has a question.
Yep. When is Galena? Let me look at my handy calendar because my brain's not working.
And in between times, you can always see Dana on Friday nights on the Voices of Contact with us, Deb Cobell and Mary Bassett.
I love Deb Cobell. She cracks me up.
Too.
Friday, May 4th and Saturday, May 5th April 4th and 5th is Galena. And you can go to hauntedgalenaconference.com or whatever, and you can Google it. It'll come up. Or if you're friends with me on Facebook, I can pop up another thing with it on there.
There you go. So, and you can always follow Dana on Facebook. So look her up.
Yes, if you have a high tolerance for memes, because I throw a lot of them out.
Yes.
Constantly.
She'll make you laugh.
And
shudder.
You're in an 8-year this year, so it's a time to manifest and be successful and do that thing where, whatever's in your mind, make it happen.
Yeah.
I'm working on that.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying.
Should be a good year for you.
Terry Mosby loves my memes. See?
Yeah.
They are pretty funny. Sometimes I shake my head. You also do a podcast. We do a podcast together called Get Real with Deb and Dana,
which we will be doing soon.
Yeah.
We
That's
never
always
have
as announced. Yeah. Our schedules are too crazy, but we're out of time. Thank you, Dana. We love you. We will see you Friday night. Have a wonderful week. Everybody take care. Have a great week. And
everybody.
Until we meet again, may all of your awakenings be mystical.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. I did my fancy thing.